Hello, my name is Alyssa Panko, and this is a presentation on Eugene Smith. This quote was written by Magnum for Eugene Smith. Photo is a small voice at best, but sometimes, just sometimes, one photograph or a group of them can lure our senses into awareness. Much depends upon the viewer, and some photographs can summon enough emotion to be a catalyst to thought. This was written for Eugene to define his passion for photography and how it can make a difference in people's lives. Eugene Smith was born in Wichita, Kansas in 1918. His mother taught him about taking photos, and he began photographing at the age of 15. Smith took some of the most memorable World War II photos and was injured by a mortar. He then came home to recover and was unable to photograph for almost a year. In 1946, Smith took a photograph of his two children walking through the garden, which became one of his most notable photos. Smith died in 1978 due to a massive stroke. Smith began his career at two local newspapers, the Wichita Eagle and the Beacon. At the age of 18, Smith began his studies in Notre Dame University under a photographic scholarship that was created just for him. A year later, he left Notre Dame and went to study under Helen Sanders at the New York Institute of Photography, where he left after only 1 year. Smith then worked for Newsweek and was fired for refusing to use a medium format camera. Between 1939 and 1954, Smith worked at Life magazine and used a 35mm camera. He covered World War II and photo essays. In 1955, Smith joined Magnum Photo Agency. After leaving Magnum Photos, he made over 4,000 hours of recordings and 40,000 photographs of jazz musicians in Manhattan called the Jazz Lot Project. Through 1971 and 1973, Smith lived with his wife in Minamata while creating his last photo essay called Minamata. And that displayed the brutal effects of poison-induced disease. These first four images are from Smith's journey overseas to photograph the war. Smith notes state, in a picture that captures the violence and sheer destruction inherent in war, perhaps more graphically than any other ever. And this was published in Life, and it was taken in March 1945. This photo displays both tenderness and horror, while the American soldier holds a near-dead infant baby that was pulled from a cave where everyone else was dead, and it was taken in 1944. This is Smith's example of a grueling land battle taken in 1945. This is a photo of American troops talking near the grave of a dead Japanese soldier. And it's noted under the photo that there was 20,000 Japanese killed during the World War II. This one is Walk to Paradise Garden, taken in 1946. This is my favorite photo that Smith has taken. It was taken after his injury in the war, and it's of his two children walking hand in hand through the woods. This is Smith's photo essay called Country Doctor from 1948, where he spent 23 days in Kremlin, Colorado to get these photos. This was taken in 1948. He followed Dr. Carini around and took photos. This is him examining a patient after he cut his hands. This is a photo of Dr. Carini holding gauze on a girl's eye while contemplating on how to tell her parents that her eye has been damaged so badly that it will need to be removed. And he fixed her other eye stitches by her eyebrow, you can see. This is Dr. Carini after a surgical procedure of a partial amputation, and it just says he's admiring his work. This is a photo of Dr. Carini delivering a baby. This is another photo essay done by Smith called Nurse Midwife, and he did this in 1951. It's a photo of Smith's subject, Maud Collin, giving midwife classes. This is Mrs. Collin keeping a close eye on her patient who is in labor. This is Mrs. Collin delivering the baby. This is just as it starts to cry. And the last photo essay I have is called Behind the Picture, Albert in Africa, 1954. And this is a photo of Albert supervising the building of a hospital in Africa. This is in a hospital in Africa. And it was taken of this baby being fed in the nursery. The child's parents are unable to care for it, so it stays in the hospital up to 3 years until they can find a sufficient place to put the baby. This is a photo of a portable railroad that was lent by a plantation owner for a major project in earth moving, taken in 1954. So Smith was around photography since a child, and he established the difference just one great photo can make. Smith explains his goal with the following sentence: touch the viewer's emotions and inspire them to work for social justice. Smith is known as one of the most powerful photographers in the history of journalism.